This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
Prof, can you talk about telemedicine and how it improves access and comfort for IVF patients, and if you offer it, and any limitations around remote IVF monitoring?
Well, COVID taught us that telemedicine works, that talking to patients doesn't need them to be in the room. And for most fertility patients, the examination, which obviously you can't do over telehealth, is not necessarily vital, particularly with ultrasound scans being done locally, because that provides most of the information that a physical examination would give us that would be relevant to fertility. When I talk to patients, probably these days about 20% of them are on Zoom, and the advantage of that is obviously is convenience for the patient. It also means that patients who want me to talk to them, who live in far off places, like the northern suburbs of Sydney. No, that's not quite true. But no, it's true. In Sydney, there are big distances for patients to travel, to spend half an hour talking to me about fertility, and I can do it over the Zoom. But more importantly, places around the state and internationally can make contact with me and have consultations. I mean, I've done consultations as far away as Sweden using telehealth, and giving my opinion on how things are going and where they're going to go to. Once we get the initial consultation, which is generally a half an hour or so, we can organise investigations. Again, emails and going to your local pathology can happen, and then we get the results, and then a follow-up Zoom will cover off all of those investigations, and we can start talking about what treatment might be appropriate or not in terms of where through to from here. Once if we decide that IVF is the way to go, there are, using Zoom, we have consultations with patients about how to use the injections. Our nurses do what we call orientation. That can all happen online. Signing the consent forms and all of the paperwork can be done online. So until we get to the stage of the drug administration or collecting the drugs, that can be done remotely as well by us couriering the medications to the patient. We can then do the monitoring remotely, going to the local pathology service or ultrasound service, and then we collating those results and keeping track of where it's going. And patients may only need to come to the clinic for the egg collection on that morning. I mean, I've had patients drive 6 hours from Mudgee, for instance, just recently, to have their eggs collected and then driven home again. And that's the only time we saw them until we had embryos, and they came back 5 days later to have the embryo transferred. So, these days, and as I started off saying, COVID forced us into a situation of having to use telemedicine. The medical benefit scheme recognises that still, and that this is a great way to allow patients better access to fertility services.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.